Hi, this is Marcos Giron. I'm with Team T-Dub. We're going to take a deeper dive into my string setup. I switched strings after the US Open last year. I was using a full bed of poly, but now I'm using a hybrid setup. I'm using Solinco Torbite 16L in the main, and I'm using Gut in the cross. I wanted to switch because I found that I was running a lot. I was hurting opponents, but I knew I could hurt them more. And so I was really looking to find a way where I can hit the ball a little bit harder, I can get a little bit easier power, but I really like my setup with the Yonex V-Core 95. And so the maneuverability and the feel that I get with it is so good and so natural that I didn't want to switch rackets. So it took a little bit of time to figure out what setup worked best for me because I was so used to a full bed of poly. I tried initially actually Gut in the main. When I tried that, the ball was so much faster off. You know, with the serving and with the volleying, it was awesome, but in times of pressure, I found that the ball just was a little too fast off the string and was a little bit too much of an adjustment for me. When you go to Gut in the cross, I find that the ball doesn't drop as much. So I was my old poly before, and I tried in the main, and it was a little bit, the gauge was a little bit too thick. It didn't grab quite as much, and so I wanted a string that was in the main that could really grab the ball and help me create that tight spin for when I'm going aggressive, when I'm playing aggressive, to keep it dropping into the court. The Gut in the cross with the poly in the main, it allows me to keep my kind of flat shots, the ones that are stay lower and hit tight spin to keep it coming in. So when I switched to the hybrid setup, it did take a little bit of adjusting. I've been playing so long with a full bed of poly that I was used to how the ball felt on the strings. You know, and it probably felt like the ball was on my strings for a little bit longer. And so when I went to a hybrid setup, the ball was on my strings for a little bit less time, but came off much faster. And it came off really well, but one of the things that I had to learn is to really trust it. And in professional tennis and in any level of tennis, the goal is to hit the ball as well as I can on every single shot. And so there are times where if I don't time the ball really well with my feet, I don't use my feet well, I don't recognize well, and I make contact too far in front and I don't add spin to it, the ball can fly, but I do gain so much power. I can gain the ability to really hurt opponents more than I was able to do before. When I was using poly, I would string my rackets about 47 pounds plus or minus 3-4 pounds depending on the conditions. Obviously, if it's a very heavy ball, very kind of cold out, low bouncing, I would want to go even lower. But when going to Gut, I had to up my tension a little bit because it is faster off the string. And so I'm about 50 pounds in the mains and 50 pounds in the cross, 10% pre-stretch. And the pre-stretch really helps keep the tension really spot on. One of the things that I really like about Gut is that it feels like the tension maintains actually much longer than polyester. And of course, it feels great in the arm. For each match, I usually have about 3 rackets strung. Given that on tour they change the balls every 7 and 9 games, and so whenever a new ball comes out, it is faster, and so it's nice to have a racket that has a little bit more tension to keep the control there. For practice, I typically get a new one strung most days, especially at tournaments when I'm back home. For better or worse, I'm not as concerned because the Gut holds the tension so well. So also with the 130, I found that it lasts a long time. Thank you for watching. For all your stringing needs, head to tenniswarehouse.com.